Well, I'm gonna go build my own theme park with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the park.
Good evening, one and all. I'm stealing that a little bit from Mike, the one and all, to another discussion on Babylon 5, Season 2, Part 2 tonight.
Woo-hoo.
I, of course, have, woohoo is right. And I have with me, of course, Mike from Pacific 414.
Hello.
Cash Monet of the Phantom
Hooligans, yes.
And of course, beneath me, the very talented, and I do mean that seriously, very talented and knowledgeable Lord Krit of Everest Production. I give him that big warm intro and it's like crickets. Crickets, I tell you.
Hello, Krit. Wiki.
I'm not gonna. That's it. I'm not being nice to that man anymore.
Not gonna tell him he's talented anymore.
No. Orca's lives do not matter around here anymore.
What? Don't make me come over there.
What? Yeah, well, come on. Come on.
Yeah, don't make me sing opera like Willie.
Only if we do it in Klingon. Even though this is a Babylon stream, I'd rather have Klingon opera. The ring cycle in this original Klingon instrument.
You mean the K-pop Klingon stuff?
Okay. Good night, everybody. This show has gone off the rails, and see you next week. So I trust all you gentlemen are doing fine. Mike, of course, you had your members only stream today, which was enjoyable to be on.
Yes.
Cash,
a lot of fun.
It was. We did rag on Cash a little bit. That's what he gets for not being a member and joining in.
Did you guys actually rag on me a little bit?
I did. I did.
What a bunch of scumbags.
I know. These people.
Well, see, that's because you're a Narn.
That's right. The best Narn ever.
Yeah, you're the rats of the of the galaxy. Is like, these people. And of course, I trust all's going well. Of course, you have that big premiere coming up or already happened for your Okay, Krit McCracken. I see that.
I'm the king.
You're the king.
Oh no.
Here's my Babylon 5, bitch.
I think we're ready to have fun. That's what we're ready to have fun.
Yeah.
And you're now you of course you got your big preview or your big premiere coming soon here, or already happened?
Of the movie, it's already out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay with it, Baron. Gosh, man.
My views are my box office. So
his views are his box office, and he's doing better than Hollyweird. That's for sure.
No, yeah, I like a lot of Krit's vision better than Hollyweird. A lot of Hollyweird.
You watch, you see all these people talking about these fake AI videos with AI art and AI narration, and there's no soul.
Nope.
But of course, it's gonna get more views than me. But I'll just keep pumping up my good stuff.
You're doing fine, man. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit for people to catch on, especially that's a good segue to the show. A lot of people, even we're talking with Paddle Wannabe, and he hasn't seen Babylon 5 yet. He's always meant to. He was always meant to, and we're telling him where you can start watching it. So hopefully we'll get another convert over to being a lurker on Babylon 5. So
nice.
And continuing strong. I mean, season 2 has been proving to be very strong. Not in the Yoder sense, and getting better and better and ramping up and getting more intense. But there's also a little bit of time we have a little, what would you say, levity with the show as well, because not everything can be this, just like the original Star Trek, where you had episodes, even though they're silly, not as serious, there was still
like where everybody got drunk, for example, in season 1.
Our troubles with tribbles are there's still a serious impetus to the episode, but there's a lightheartedness to it. And this first episode we're going to be walking into, literally, is called Acts of Sacrifice.
Woohoo!
Right.
Oh, no, not this.
This one was the best sex scene ever.
He wanted Ivanova.
They got little Paul Williams as the guy. She's like,
Chris broke it again.
It just, I remember we were watching this. Cash was going, "What the hell?"
We all did.
I went, huh?
I mean, this was something that you really never expected with a franchise out there, specifically one that has S&T in it. Not to be rude,
but remember how the Ferengi was acting with certain women.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean,
those freaking Ferengi, man.
I mean, Roddenberry was going bonkers with that. He was trying to explain the size of a Ferengi's member and why Ferengi women have to be a certain way. And people are going, Gene, dial it back. But this is one where they didn't get a little carried away. They didn't need to dial it back. But the episode basically centers around the fact that the Jakar is basically asking Sheridan to help. Can the Earth Alliance get involved somehow to take care of the Narn? And then you also have Ivanova, who has been recently promoted, getting her first major task on board the station. That is to be an ambassadorship with visiting alien race. I believe they call themselves the Illuminati. The enlightened ones, or Illuminati. Sorry, Illuminati. I forgot, but who are stuck up. The main one will not talk until a certain point that they deem is worthy to, using Paul Williams here, obviously a subspecies or another species to their empire, to be the one talking for him. And as they're going along through the way, he deems that the Earth Alliance is worthy because of what he saw in Down Below and the lurkers down there, and how he viewed them being treated, and basically go, yeah, you're civilized people, you know how to separate everybody out. And meanwhile, Sheridan is having basically difficulties trying to maneuver around to get help for the Narn, even though Earth Alliance does not seem to be very interested in doing that. Give and takes, gentlemen, on this particular episode. In fact, besides the fact that we had the great Paul Williams in there, I've always been a fan of Paul Williams. A lot of songs, like Old Fashioned Love Song and a bunch of others, were done by him. Smokey and the Bandit, he was Little Enos. hysterically so in first and second one. So, and he was working at one time on a musical for the Wizard of Id, where he would have played the King of Id, if anybody's familiar with that comic strip. But not to, shall we say, capitalize on this, gentlemen. Whoever wants to speak up first on thoughts and ideas.
Well, I thought it was interesting that the ambassador wouldn't actually speak to anyone until he saw that humans and Babylon 5 were worthy of being spoken to. Other than that, it was Paul Williams that you're seeing on your screen right now who did all the talking for the ambassador.
Until they got to that particular point. One person made a note, and we were talking yesterday with this, this 57th anniversary and 50th anniversary of Star Trek, both at the same time because of the regular and animated series. About Star Trek Prime Directive, and sometimes there's a little back and forth between B5 and Star Trek, and some people have, and I want to get your opinion on this. Some people have taken a look at the Illuminante's feelings that they have on their arrogant attitude as bearing some resemblance to the Star Trek Prime Directive.
I could see that because this isn't the only episode in this season that takes a little barge at DS9 or even Star Trek in general.
Something laws of the aliens and the humans. I kind of spaced it. All I know is that all I know is that Alien wanted to have sex with Ivanova. Like,
yes,
like he was into it. Like, oh yeah, let's get on.
He was into it, and so Ivanova was like, well, we need to get this alliance, if I remember, accomplished. Basically sign contract with the ambassador, who of course is behind her behind them both. That's a great one. Right there. And she, she's trying to be friendly, I would say Ivanova is, and from what I remember, he just was infatuated with her, and she is an attractive woman. I can't say she isn't, obviously, but she at this point was trying to figure out, how can I get this deal done and still get rid of this guy? And so she was like, well, she decided to get really weird on him, and he didn't expect it. And if I remember, she was making some kind of noises. And he couldn't stand it, and so then it scared him, and so mission accomplished.
Yeah, because their way of finalizing a deal is having sex, and he wanted to do it the human way,
the human way, right?
Yeah,
yes,
and the Weinstein way. So it's like, oh, you want your role in your movie?
And it goes through all that. And the Paul Williams character realizes and knows for the fact that he got played, and that's why he's giving her that nice kiss on the hand at the end.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, good job, Ivanova.
And he, also in the episode near the end, he says, "Next time, we do it my way."
Yep. As if there was a next time.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
If there would ever be a next time. And looking at that there, and I let this. I can't remember if you're here, Cash, when I said this or not, but I didn't know about Pacific. No, the man who plays the ambassador there. Well, he was the emperor. If people didn't know, that's Ian Abercrombie from, of course, the Clone Wars, playing the until he passed away, being the voice of the emperor. So here we got a little cross-pollination going on here. So
I mean, voice work is good money, man. Yeah, it's interesting. Some of course, the cast of Babylon 5 went on to do voice acting. Well, if it's not working out and these shows or they just don't want you and stuff, I think that just because of the name, like being on Babylon 5, I think that helps getting voice acting. That's my guess.
Well, I think it'd be a lot of stuff. I mean, he was well known
Yes.
for a lot of things anyways before that.
Right.
I think he was
Very
involved with even Saturday Night Live. I could be
Interesting.
wrong. No, maybe. Or I can't remember if he was or not. But the thing is he was around and doing a lot of stuff. So he was known. But after a while, you
Right.
start realizing what the cross pollination between a lot of these people were.
Yeah.
And of course, various stills from the episode. Well, thank you, Salty Traveling Sea. Good to see you, my friend, and thank you for the kind word, Derek. I'm going to pimp myself out here, whore myself out. If you have anything, just my number. Making deals out here, whoring myself out, grifting myself, boys and girls.
That's good.
But of course, you have that situation where kind of powerful with Andreas Katsoulis in this episode, because he's trying to get the aid. The aid is rejected, and at the end, you don't know if he's laughing or crying or both.
Well, it's such an ugly situation, considering that Centauri and the Nan are both on Babylon 5.
So, and JMS basically sat back and answered that question. He says it was a little bit of both, because in that type of, it was both laughing at the absurdity and crying, about as close as we seem to a nervous breakdown with Jakar. And it starts showing what a strong character he is and the growth he had since, the pilot. Let's take a look at pilot when we were going to, we thought he was going to be Boo Hiss, to very sympathetic character and one that we can start identifying with. While the clown, Londo, again, here we thought he was buffoon. He starts becoming a little more villainous in some ways, but we can still identify with him.
Yeah, they're both a shade of gray. Both of them have their good qualities, but they also have those qualities that Londo will do what's best for Centauri, and Jakar will do what's best for the Narn.
And really, honestly, you kind of see that kind of grew a little bit. I would argue to say that Jakar was not necessarily doing it for the Narn per se, as more about him and his desire for revenge.
Right.
And seeing all this comes down, he starts growing up and realizing, and becomes, instead of self-centered at himself, where Morden refused him because of that. Maybe if Morden asked him now, he might get tempted, because his focus changed from just raw revenge and destroying to his people.
Yes, he just, you feel for Jakar. As much as I like Londo, it's kind of like, Londo, what are you doing? And as we know, we've already gotten past, it's like, Morton's still around, and it's just, you're like, what are you doing with the Centauri? But yeah, it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, I mean, it still has a connections, even though the Illuminati part was kind of a throwaway part.
Right.
It was great character building for this beautiful lady, and she still is a beautiful lady. Claudia Christian, if you're out there, give me a call. Or better yet, give Mike a call. Give Mike a call. He's
right.
Right. And I didn't say you because she sees your chin and she's lost it. I mean, but it was a good character building for this for Ivanova. Really,
Right.
take a look how no, this is her first under pressure with something that she's not comfortable in because she is the more military type,
Right.
and so boom, there it is. We got more Narn intrigue here. Ever notice that some of the Narn women look Narn?
Yeah.
That's what you need. You need to find a woman like that, Cash, with that such noble.
There
she is having sex. Yep. There she is having sex with the ambassador.
It's so funny. It is.
It was.
This is how we. It's so ridiculous.
It is.
I love it though, but that's smart. It's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, those what is this race then? I guess you would call them.
Well, they're Illuminati. That's what they call themselves.
Illuminati.
Mm-hmm. So, and they're supposed to have, they're supposed to have a gift, I guess, for which we don't really ever find out what it is. But here they come, and they have this arrogant attitude, or he does, until he sees how basically natural selection. And I suppose that's kind of the takeoff of it is given the Illuminati's feeling about natural selection is unclear how desirable they'll be as allies. If Earth needs help, they might decide that means humans are inferior and withhold their aid. Again, kind of throwing back a little bit to that prime directive thing. Where it's kind of like, because to be honest with you, I'll be 100% honest. I was never a big fan of the prime directive of Star Trek. I never was. At least the prime directive as a letter of the law. Applied to with the spirit of the law, yes, but there are, obviously there's got to be times when you've got to have humanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's times that, we're going against the letter of law, but the spirit of law is being here. This is the only way to save the species, or something in that fashion. To be draconian like that, how trustworthy is the Starfleet then? I suppose it's kind of a question: how trustworthy can this race be, this Illuminati?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just crazy, but I think any woman in that situation, they had to get a deal done. I think they would, play some tricks.
Yeah. Well, it shows that Ivanova is a very smart, ingenious, and that's a pleasure device right there. She was supposed to have that she was given for their coupling.
What's that for?
You know what? I don't think we want to know, but it has to do with having sex with that species. That's why she was able to talk him into doing it the Earth way. Which oh man. You walk through the doors and you see that. What is the first thing that goes through your mind?
Yeah, I know somebody in our group.
lady. That's what I think.
I don't know. I know somebody in our group wouldn't know what to do with that woman, but I'm not saying who. Anyway.
Okay, you know what? I would, Cash. In your face.
Not you, nut.
Those scurrilous rumors.
You're just going all in today, aren't you, Cash?
I am.
Well, he knows how much I ragged on him on the member stream, so he's like,
You didn't rag on me that much. You're being, sure, Baron. I know your games.
I think that's when she's having her orgasm right there.
Right.
Her face.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this episode, gentlemen?
I thought it was good character growth for her, Ivanova. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so.
It was good. The whole Narn plot was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the funniest part was the part with Ivanova. So.
Yeah. The sex on the beach. Okay. Well, we're going to move on to that next episode. It's called Hunter Prey. Again, this gets into a little bit of intrigue, political intrigue, that Babylon 5 is known for. Basically, as it goes, that the former doctor to the president and the vice president is on the lam because something's wrong. He knows something, and he's got some sensitive information about what happened with President Santiago and, of course, now President Clark. This episode has the dubious recognition of having Bernie Casey in here as a character.
Mhm.
A man who's had quite a career. So I don't.
Career.
Yes.
Mhm.
Bernie Casey,
And-
who would also be on Deep Space Nine and the
That's
Maquis.
true. I do
Mhm.
remember seeing something about that. Yeah, he's done some other.
Yeah, Bill and Ted he was in.
Yeah.
Mr. Ryan from Bill and Ted.
Yeah, he had a good role in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
the teacher, right?
Yeah. Any role that he's in, he's good. I mean, he really is. Wow, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, don't cough
Do I
up
have
a
to call-
lung now, buddy.
Are you sure
Cough
we don't
on
have to
you.
call? Yeah. It also has Richard Mole in this
Mhm.
as Max. So basically, what we're having here is this Dr. Jacobs is on the run, played by Tony Steadman. Just to let you know there. And let's see if I can get. Okay, there's people looking for it. Ooh, come to my place, ASP. There he goes. And there's our doctor himself. And he has proof that Vice President Clark was not ill. He was Vice President Clark's personal physician. And when he left the Earth Force One before the IO transfer station, he was saying he was ill. And the doctor says, no, he wasn't. And it starts making things look more susceptible to the fact that this truly was a assassination to more and more people other than our illustrious crew of the Babylon 5. And so this becomes a race. They're chased down, and now they got to figure out what they can do to hide him so they can get him to a safe place. So the information, well, one, he can live, and two, the information can be put out there. And it also involves Kosh. So, of course, let people start up here. Whoever wants to start with your thoughts, ideas about this particular wonderful episode.
Well, I mean, he's got information of a conspiracy. They're trying to find him. If they catch him, they got the news networks that will say stuff. Oh, well, they do say stuff at the end. Reminds me of a certain, thingamabob. But this episode was interesting. I mean, it kind of ties to the larger plot with the president and the assassination plot. I like the ending with the Vorlon ship. It's a pretty solid episode.
Very much so.
It is, and I like that we learn more about Dr. Franklin in this episode too. That's what matters to me when I'm watching a TV show. When I start learning more about the characters, you find out more about their history, what they've been through. It's like when we find out about Garibaldi and his involvement in the last war, how it affected him. Well, we find out about Franklin and how he was as a medical student.
It's like the guest stars.
That's right,
there.
because this older man is his. I don't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to add on.
No. I'd rather have you guys talk.
Okay. Yeah, right. Because this was Franklin's mentor when he was going to school. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad
he knows this man.
Okay.
You get a gold star.
I'm happy. So yeah, learning more about Franklin's just his background. I agree with Mike. Learning more about these characters, and that's why character development you should always be important in any story. You shouldn't just throw things together and see what sticks. got to think about it. I know you got to use your brain. But yeah, so we learned more about him, and then of course they're trying to protect him on Babylon 5 because I can't remember who was trying to kill him or not.
Well, Bernie Casey was chasing after him.
That's right. Okay.
Right. Yeah. But basically, when it comes down to it, it's President Clark who wants him wiped off the face
of course,
our galaxy. You might say.
Yep, of course, President Clark.
Yeah, well, he's a good guy. He's misunderstood, really. So he
yeah,
doesn't
he's
fall off steps, at
misunderstood.
least. Yeah.
He's misunderstood.
No, would you say this is a fair assessment? Yeah, definitely. One thing that Babylon 5 does better than a lot of shows, including a certain franchise we also love, that when they've been bringing in guest stars, it was to help character build the people that we have on the show more than a lot of other shows. They weren't just a pretty face coming on there. It's like, hey, watch the show because we got the Rock.
It depends, because we know from even Star Trek, like there was some quality guest stars. Yeah, he's not just a pretty face. Yeah.
The Rock and Voyager.
Yeah. I'm not going to confirm nor deny that was a shot. But, sorry.
I mean, Sarah Silverman even popped up in Voyager. That wasn't a bad episode.
Well, I guess you're a Silver.
I'm not. I just remember that episode. She had a good role in that as a guest star. But yeah, getting back to Babylon 5. I mean, it's hard to say that you hate any of the people who are guest starring on this show. They all had good roles for the most part, except Freddy Cougar, but we haven't
we haven't gotten there yet, but right. I know that was a big disappointment, but we'll talk about that when we
get it's all right.
Like I said, that was a half good episode.
It was missing one thing though. It was missing a Georgia senator as the president of Earth.
Oh, stop it.
No,
okay, that's it.
No.
Oh boy.
But we can say though that even our favorite franchise throws in a guest star because of name recognition,
right?
More than anything else, and to help promote a character. Babylon 5 seemed to be doing, when they had the guest stars come in, it was to help build up these characters, add more to the myth and the lore that's being around there. It was like Chekhov's gun. They're there. If they come in, there's got to be a payoff. And the payoff is you learn something more.
Right. And they're also getting paid too, and I'm sure they could use the work. So I'm not saying they weren't doing other things, but
no. But no, I'm just talking about story wise. But I mean, I think
that's fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, as it went along, you started having people wanting to clamoring a little bit to get on the show.
Oh, I'm sure.
We can talk about that more next. And of course, there's Bernie Casey.
Yep, who was also in Revenge of the Nerds. The first one.
The head of
great actor.
Lambda.
Yep. Oh,
great actor.
He was he's in a lot.
Yes,
yeah.
He has
and the
been.
thing is with Bernie Casey, he's got just the one expression, but he's still a great actor.
That's true. That's true. He does pretty much have just the one expression, Bernie Casey.
But he does so much with it.
He does. He does.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not an insult. It's like
crazy. No, it's not. No.
I mean, he's sent back saying there's these guys by the name of Bill and Ted. I need them found.
Yeah, Bill and Ted, Revenge of the Nerds. I was about to say Angry Nerds. That's funny, but Revenge of the Nerds. And then Babylon 5, he popped up in, and then he's been in other things. I'm sure we've seen too. I can't think of them right now, besides Bill and Ted. But
and they have a lot of double pictures, photos in here on this. But there's our favorite Kosh. But how did you like how they took care of the Doctor? I mean, they had to hide him. So
I'm trying to remember, but they had to hide him, and I can't even remember why Garibaldi was wearing that hat.
I don't remember him wearing that hat either.
That's right. Yeah,
he was down below. Well, yeah, he was trying to
Dotson,
go
Dotson.
incognito.
We got Dotson here.
Yeah, because he was even saying that even his own security men won't recognize him down below.
Right. And he was hunting down, trying to find the doctor to get him to safety. And of course, there was people going after him. People down below that were going after him because they thought, oh, we got money coming in here. But you had some of the great lines like Sheridan go with Kosh. It's like, you wanted to see me. Kosh goes, you wanted to see me.
Kosh is just like, you're just not sure about Kosh, and as we know moving forward, it's like but then the other Kosh, but we won't get into that. But Kosh is a very interesting character, but you want to be careful what you say to Kosh, because it's just those Vorlons are they're not to be messed with.
Well, I was thinking as I rewatch these episodes. This is where Kosh really gets interesting because you want to find out where this is leading.
Right. Yeah, they decide the best place to hide him is on board Kosh's ship, but Kosh doesn't want him in there unless, of course, he's knocked out. So they knock him out. Kosh's ship hides him. They're able to do a scan across the station. Can't find him because obviously he's in Kosh's ship. They go away and he comes out. And what did he have to say about the ship being in there? The only thing that he can have recollection.
It's saying to him.
Yeah, it's saying to him. Just like he said, just like Kosh said to Talia Winters in Deathwalker, he said, listen to the music, not the song. And all alone in the night, Kosh goes, I sought understanding. I listened to the song. Your thoughts became the song. So, I mean, obviously there's something, and even when you hear him talking, you got that almost those notes. And then the translator. So it seems like music is very important to the Vorlon. Any other thoughts about this episode that you like to have?
It's a quality episode.
It's good.
Pretty good episode, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely, season 2 was showing how strong the show has become, really. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next episode. That episode is called There All the Honor Lies. And I do love the name of these episodes that they come up with. This one actually was written by Peter David. So we have, of course, Sheridan is in trouble when he has to kill a Minbari warrior in self-defense. But there's also more trouble that we have going on in here. And that is they want to turn the station into a franchise. If this wasn't something that was poking fun, not just to Star Trek, but Star Wars or all the other ones, this is the one. And Caitlin Brown's in this episode, not downtown Caitlin Brown, and playing Genevieve Correa. Oh, you like that, huh?
There's a line in this episode that Ivanova says, "We're not some deep space franchise."
Yes. Yeah. So obviously this was Peter David's frustration, I think, because Peter David's well known for writing, obviously a lot of the Star Trek novels and comic books, but never wrote an episode, which he should have. Here he's writing episodes. He also wrote, I believe, a comic, and he also believe he wrote 3 novels in the Babylon 5 universe. So here it looks like good old Sheridan is now being framed by somebody of murder, and particularly it's with a Minbari, and most importantly with his reputation of being the Star Killer. This is not going to bode well with the station. So with that down there, with the franchising in that, I'll let you guys take it away because it's not my show, it's your show.
Well, I'm trying to remember why Londo had a doll made of him. I think it was somebody. I can't remember why.
Oh
I think it
no.
was somebody at the market. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a picture
There
in
we go.
there right
Mhm.
there.
Oh no,
So-
that's even better. What it is they were selling action figures of Lando Malari at the station.
right, it
Where
was
the
at
Oscar store.
the little market area. Yeah,
Right.
it's always
And
at the
he was
market
not
place.
happy with it. They
No, he was
wanted to
not.
stop. The reason why? It was not
Yeah.
anatomically correct. It didn't have his 3 Centauri wieners on there. And that was very insulting to a virile Centauri. You know,
Yes.
it's like, so that was one of the first problems that we had with the store, Londo. But not many people really
Uh-huh.
cared because it's Londo.
He didn't have 3 what? The way you said that.
Six
His
Centauri.
tentacles. He had tentacles.
Yeah, his wieners.
Right,
Yeah,
right. The tenta. Right.
yeah.
Well, he is an
Mhm.
alien. Yeah.
Right, he's an alien. He doesn't have the doodle down there. He's got the octopus arms. So
Right, but they don't
just
come out until
warm embrace of a Centauri. It leads new meaning to that.
right.
So, but go on. Go on.
So yeah, they made. I can't remember why they made action figures of him. Is it sign of respect? I think it was. I can't.
No,
I'm trying to
no, it was
remember,
just to
Baron.
sell.
I
It
don't.
was franchising. It was just like
Okay,
Mike was
just
saying. They're
franchise. Got it.
franchising,
Yeah. Okay.
merchandising.
Right.
As
Making a
Spaceballs would have.
profit. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
They had the dolls of everybody out there,
Uh
and
huh.
of course, Jakar. I mean, Lonzo sees his, and he's frankly insulted beside himself.
Well, he's usually going to be insulted by something. He has a very high opinion of himself. He's a Centauri.
Yep. As you can see,
that's
and needless to
that's how I feel with Sheridan. What the hell is this?
mhm. Yeah, it's like you're bothering me with that, you
Yeah,
know.
you must have this done. Yeah,
Mhm,
he wanted closed down the shop. He was insulted,
mhm,
and just Sheridan's like, really, Londo, really?
mhm.
yeah,
And yeah, this could cause friction between our people. Yeah.
ridiculous.
And there's Caitlin Brown, by the way.
Mhm.
Right, and
Lovely.
that was
Out of makeup.
Hmm.
that was no, that's not the one Garibaldi was with, was it?
No, Natoff. She was
No,
Natoff.
no. That's right, Natoff. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay.
She was one of the Natoffs, but I think it was because the makeup. He was having a hard time with the
Right.
makeup and
So
all
in
that
this
stuff.
one, she was actually a human, right?
Right. Hmm.
Uh-huh.
And she made appearances on Star Trek as well, if I remember
Of
right.
Mhm.
course. Makes sense.
You'll find there's a lot of cross pollination. A lot of cross pollination.
I'm trying to remember, was she didn't like Garibaldi, right? Because I know in this episode they worked together on something or
Well, yeah. Well, they're trying to figure out what's
yes.
going on. She's like his attorney.
That's right. Sheridan's an attorney, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Was it okay, yeah.
So they're trying to get down to what this was about. Why was there
Right, because
Mm.
this
Sheridan blaming him, right, framing him for the yes.
Mhm.
And if I remember, Delin was not happy. Yeah, Delin was not happy about the situation, but they were framing Sheridan because why were they
Well,
framing Sheridan? Or there
he's
was
part
just a
villain.
Oh, right, because yes, and that's right, because in the season, because Sheridan was brought in, right, they didn't like him because he was a big part of blowing up a lot of Minbari during the war.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, he
So of course,
basically he blew up the
that's
glass.
right. And so it's starting to come back to me. It was a stabbing, and then he was like, I didn't, this was just an accident. And he proved to Delin and the
Right.
okay.
It was basically
Yeah.
let's cause problems on that one.
Mhm.
And oops, I hate when that happens. There, of course, obviously Delin is in a between a
Delin
rock and a
is
hard place on this one.
what a great character. I just
Yeah,
Delin, what a great
and
character.
beautiful too, beautiful too.
Yeah.
I rest your soul, miss her.
Yes. Yes. Just her calming presence is just throughout this show is just like amazing. It really is.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, let's just face it. The Lynx, Babylon 5's version of Spock, the calm,
Right.
collected, the one that can see
Yes.
things that Sheridan
Right.
can't see or anyone else can't see.
Right,
from
because
their
of
own
information that
perspective.
she knows as a Minbari. Yes, I agree.
Well, and not only that, also learning her lesson, as we find out as we go along with the start of the Earth Minbari War, about how emotions, being wildly knee-jerk emotion, could cause more harm than good. And she had a hard lesson to learn as well.
She did, yes, but she also got angry when she needed to. But most of the time, she was very calm. A lot of patience.
Yeah, not many people are liking that shop on Babylon 5.
Yeah.
How did you like how they finally decided to get rid of the store?
I'm trying to remember. Something about then they started selling bears or something, and then Sheridan gave a bear. Yeah. To
Yeah, what they had was they had a Bab Bear Lawn 5 and had JS on it for John Sheridan. And he looks at it, starts laughing, goes, "Get rid of this store." That was the final
because he felt the same as Londo, so instead now you got the the bear. I'll give it to Ivanova.
Yeah, because his reaction when he sees the JS on the bear, who's JS, and then he's told John Sheridan.
Yeah, it's like I don't want that. Just like Londo didn't want his own figure.
Yeah, and the thing is about that was the bigger story behind that bear was that Peter David gave this to J. Michael Straczynski. JS was Joe Straczynski, and Straczynski hates cute. He hates cute, and he called him up.
Right, he hates cute.
He goes, this means war, basically. And this whole episode, actually, not the whole episode was written by Peter David. The last little bit was written by JMS. That was the bear being shot out the airlock.
That's right.
Yeah, there's the Bad Bear Lawn 5. He was shot out the airlock, and this is why. Well, you got that look. He set out to take a look and find out what this object is. Comes up, hits the windscreen,
and it was the bear. That's right.
Yeah, and basically, I have nothing to report. I'm out of here. Call me out. I'm gone. I'm gone.
That's great. Yeah.
But what about that when he's down below Sheridan and he's sitting with that gentleman there, and he starts hearing the song. Puts the coin in, and the place just fills up with lights and the music, the calming, chanting music.
Wasn't this person, all right, wasn't this person kind of like a fortune teller that Sheridan went to go see, or
it was just somebody that Kosh told him to go to?
Okay, but it wasn't kind of like a fortune teller, I thought.
I really don't know exactly what he truly was, but he was just sitting down there. He was sitting there, and he's going to get understanding because Kosh is trying to teach him of what he's got to do, and he's going through those lessons, and then he here's that monastic chant in that quarter, and again, it's steps of a lesson. So, who, what, where, when, and why?
Yeah. Well, you kind of feel like you can trust this Kosh, but as we know, moving forward to the season, it's just like Sheridan starts getting more and more frustrated with Kosh, but we haven't got there yet. So.
Right. Well, and it's understandable. I mean, this Kosh
very understandable.
Cares. This Kosh cares. He does.
Yes.
And of course, we can discuss more of the Vorlon as we go along in here. So, any other thoughts on this episode besides the Bad Barrelon 5, which of course JMS said he one of his endearing things he remembers the show is that Bear sitting with a pole up his ass getting green screen for the scene. You know, he hated that Bear. He really hated that Bear.
That's great.
Any other thoughts on this episode, gentlemen?
Just the fact that it keeps planting more and more seeds as
Mhm.
to what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It moves the plot along. It moves the main plot along.
Mm-hmm. And things that
not,
are
it's not like it's just out there, you know, say you're on a boat, you're out there, you're out of fuel, and you're just sitting there. No, this boat's still moving. Yeah, it may deviate its course slightly, but it's still keeping its sights set on the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the main story.
Mm-hmm. I think that's probably the end-all be-all statement for this. I have nothing more to add to that. Trust me. Well, our next episode is fake news. It's called "And Now for a Word," and of course, the first season Babylon 5, you did have where they were being interviewed. Sinclair was being interviewed by basically
ISN. Yeah.
Right now is where we see the people going through and being interviewed, and what's being sold to Earth. So
fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news. Fake news.
It's very biased. There's no doubt about that. It's all if I remember, this is the one where that reporter says I'm going to be fair, and then he's not, and then they're going to smear Babylon 5. That's their whole objective. That he's basically a plant for Clark, right? Yeah, plant for
basically,
Clark. Yes.
Yeah. And in some ways, elements of ISN as well, because they're more than willing to go along with it.
Yes, they are. Because obviously, as we find out later on, ISN has been hijacked by Clark and his goon squad. Yes.
They didn't grab their floaties. That was the problem.
They didn't get their floaties, man. ABC. Excuse me. No.
God.
And in this episode, of course, we find out, as of course they're reporting, that 41% of Earth's citizens feel that Babylon 5 is not worth the time and expense. And I think that was kind of going off the polling that they had back at that time, people's opinion about the UN and the United States involvement in there. Also told that about 250,000 humans died during the Earth-Minbari War, but that seems really low, if you ask me, especially with the massacring out there. We also hear back on Earth, Clark government formed the Office of Public Information and the Ministry of Public Morale. That's kind of seems kind of ominous with those names. And we also know that Sheridan got the Silver Star for his actions during the Earth-Minbari War. He's a war hero, as was Sinclair before him.
Right.
So basically, this whole episode is centered around the fact that kind of like the MASH episode where they went around.
Yeah, that's what I think. Right. MASH. Yeah, and where what was it, like the general? I think the general was visiting, and he said, we'll keep that part in of what Pierce said, and then everything else was just chaos.
Right.
Documentary. But yeah, I compare that to this. Definitely. Yeah.
And yes, and exactly where this episode got its inspiration from. It wasn't copied, but inspiration, because obviously this episode takes it into a different direction.
Yes, it does. Yep.
Any other thoughts on how that went about, both the filming and then, of course, what we eventually see on their program?
I mean, I thought it was very good at telling the story.
Yes.
Showing how even in the future, the media can be manipulated to work for
Yes.
one side over another.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think we are talking about that earlier, you and me, Mike, about
Mhm.
how the first thing they want to make sure they have control of is the media, because what better way to spread your propaganda, your misinformation, what you
Exactly.
want people to, so they fall in line with you. And it doesn't matter how much of a lie is. What a lie told often enough eventually gets believed,
Mhm.
which you're seeing here with ISN.
Yeah, she's going around when she's on Babylon 5, getting in people's way and wanting to find information that she really shouldn't know. And of course,
Mhm.
Ivanova and Sheridan have to be careful about what they say because they know they're being recorded.
Yes.
And especially that guy there, he had to watch what you said, because they're asking him about Ivanova, and look
Yes.
who's over his shoulder. It's like you have that little thing where he looks over and
Yeah.
she's looking at him. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Corwin. He was a great secondary.
Yeah, he was awkward, but
Mhm.
he's a good character in it.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's that
Mhm.
young officer that they put in there, and
Right.
again, you can kind of identify with. It's like, everything's blowing up around you, but it's like, okay, I'm weathering the storm, and the character does.
Yes.
And it shows that he's got more strength and metal to him than a lot of other people.
Mhm.
So, what did you think of the commercial in this episode, by the way?
Propaganda.
The
Yep.
Psycor is your friend. Trust the core. Did you catch that little subliminal
Uh,
message that popped up?
Yeah. With that kid.
I
Yeah,
trust them to throw him out the airlock, sure, but
right. And I want to say hi to everybody's one of two favorite penguins. Of
it's a
course, we are going to have
penguin sighting. All right.
We're going to have Penguin Dome, or Thunder Penguin.
Yes.
Two penguins enter, one penguin leave. Oh, Spec Linux
Right.
backed up. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you.
Hey, low spec. How you doing, man?
He must know that I love penguins. I love penguins. They're one of my
Stop
favorite
sucking
animals.
up.
I do. But yeah, and the funny thing about it is they had to make sure that that message that trust, about the core, trusting the core, the Psycor is your friend, a certain amount of time, because it was under that would be considered subliminal message. So they had it to the bare peak, where they could flash it in there and not be considered that. And yeah, there at least there was at one time laws about that, about flashing subliminal messages and stuff. So.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's kind of funny that they bring it up in this show and they're still using it in the far, far future. So, any other thoughts on the episode that should be called "Fake News"?
Fake news.
Fake news.
It's fake, so
Very
It,
Yes.
insightful, Krit.
Very
trying,
thank
it
you,
was trying to
Krit.
tell the
I
lies of Babylon 5 and
Yes.
why, in view of the government,
Mm-hmm.
it was a bad investment.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a solid episode, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Earth, the core is mother, the core is father. We will move on to uh the ball gets to roll an even more episode, In the Shadow of Zahadum. Of course, the first time we hear that name. And more importantly, we find out that this gentleman who has been plaguing us for the last season or so, Master Morden,
Mr. Morton.
he was
Mr.
on that.
McCracken.
He's alive?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be dead, folks.
It's time
He was
for
on
all
this.
hell to break loose again.
Yeah, all hell break loose. Yeah, and he was on the same expedition, the Icarus, as they went to this planet called Zahadum in 2256. Of course, everybody got blown up real good, but why is this guy still moving around? And what does that mean about his wife? Could his wife be alive? Could other members of the Icarus be alive? what is going on? And of course, also on the station, we have basically going around and trying to recruit people to join the Night Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And this again is both storylines in here have severe repercussions. This is a very part of the ladder, the rungs of the ladder, written by J. Michael Zazinski, of course. And I'll leave it to you, gentlemen, as we talk about In the Shadow of Zahadum.
Well, the fact that you see him right there and everybody's going, how could he be alive? He's dead.
Mm-hmm.
But by all accounts and purposes, he's dead.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, he is, even inside, as we find out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And more importantly, he's looking straight at the camera in the cell.
Yeah.
No one else is there. Or supposedly, there's nobody else there. But he's looking straight into the camera so you can see. I mean, isn't that a little unnerving, boys and girls?
Oh, it's always Mr. Morton is always unnerving. How can I help you? Like, no. And those eyes, no.
He'll offer to buy you stuff for your channel, so
yeah, I could see that.
What do you want? I want subs. I need subs. I gotta have subs. We'll get you. Boom.
I'll get you subs. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But
trust in me.
You want technology? Yeah.
But you might have to do a favor in the future. If you do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
funny thing,
Mr. Morton is just a reincarnation of the devil in a lot of ways. He really is.
Yeah, he is. He even looks like the devil there. Look at that smile. Look at the eyes.
Yep. And he believes in his mind that he can't be stopped at this point. Nothing can stop him. No.
Of course not. They think they got everybody.
He can do whatever, literally the hell. Yeah, anything. He can do whatever the hell he wants, basically, is.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a funny thing. Ed Wasson got picked to do this part of Morton because JMS, and I want to get your guys' take on this one. JMS saw a quality of Rod Serling in him.
I could see it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in something else besides Babylon 5, hasn't he? I feel like I've seen this actor in something else, but I could be wrong.
Oh, I'm sure he has been. I mean, he should be in a lot of stuff because he is a good actor. I mean, just look how he is playing that part so well, and being able to convey that creepiness.
Mm-hmm.
That Ed Wasser and Ed Wasser, just to let you know, of course, in the movies he was in, and these all kind of sound kind of the setup. He was in the setup as a cop. Storm Swept, The Royal Affair, Star Witness, The Better Angels.
He popped up in an episode of 24.
Right.
2004. Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in like Another World, so he was in a soap. Quantum Leap, Murder, She Wrote, of course, Babylon 5.
Not bad.
And NYPD Blue, Sliders,
nice.
Mike Hammer.
See that? Yep, Sliders. Yeah, that's a good show.
And not only that, he had a role in the first episode of Babylon 5, but he was one of the pit crew in there.
He was in the Lost World Jurassic Park video game. That's crazy. As a voice, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, unfortunately, he's not really working much. He's kind of retired. I hate to hear that, but at 59 years old, you're still good. You're good.
Right.
You're out there.
And what I was going to say is, I don't know how recent his picture on IMDb is, but he still looks the same.
Looks pretty recent.
Yeah,
it's pretty recent. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Morton's a great character, but he's so devious and evil. It's just, I love it.
Again, it was like Louise Fletcher. We were talking about her, how how much you hate the character because of how good of an actress she was, and the same can be said of Morton.
Right.
I mean, honestly, a person with lesser abilities would not be able to make that role work.
I agree.
You had to have the right actor in place to
Mhm.
portray that role.
Hmm.
Yes, definitely.
And they definitely got it with him. I mean, just his ability to have that look on there. So I wish he was back in acting. So many things in there. I can just picture him in so many roles.
Well, unfortunately, it's a very low percentage of a lot of these actors. They might be in
Hmm.
something that's considered a hit, then
Hmm.
they're just not getting much work anymore. They just get typecast, or you
Hmm.
can look at David Caruso, for example. He thought he was
Well,
the shit.
well,
That's
that's
just an example, and then
hmm
his career fell apart until he was finally in a movie. I think it was with Russell Crowe, and then
yeah,
that probably got him to be on Miami. Yeah, CSI
yeah.
Miami. And just
Well,
he thought he was so massive in NYPD Blue that he could just step on people. It doesn't work
right.
that way, dude.
Well, see, that's just it. He got so full of himself, he sabotaged his
He
own
did.
career.
He did until he
But
started getting some humility, I would say, to an
yeah,
extent. Yeah.
he had to be kicked down. But there's actors that aren't that way and do a wonderful job. It's like, come on, how are these guys? They're good. You know, Ed Wasser, I think, is one of them. I think if they needed to
Yes.
have, and going back to the Rod Sterling thing, if they ever decide to do the Twilight Zone properly, they should have him doing the intros.
I agree. His voice alone, I
Yeah,
100% agree with you on that, man.
yeah. The look on his face, everything. I
Not
mean,
that Peel is bad. It's
no,
just not. I like his voice too, and I like some of his vision of horror. But I agree, this guy would be perfect.
yeah.
But he's a
I,
white guy, so that's a problem. I'm kidding, YouTube. Not kidding, but anyways.
he's not. No. Of course, here we see the agent going through with the Night Watch as he's trying to get people to join up, explaining that their job is to protect the Earth against, people who might not have sympathies towards the Earth, might have alien sympathies, all that good stuff. Hmm, 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 hmm. What could that be? What could that be?
Hmm.
Especially with the Ministry of Peace. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ministry of
yeah,
Peace.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Ministry of Peace, huh?
Hmm. So, with that, you have the two stories. I believe this is the story. Uh, Maybe this isn't the one. I'm trying to remember which one it was where good old Veer does the little waving of the hand. But of course, Sheridan is convinced to drop everything because he's going obsessive against Mr. Morden because he wants answers. He wants to know, and obviously, so it involves his wife. Until a certain Vorlon convinces him to let it
Mm-hmm.
drop
Yep.
and gives him a vision.
That's
And it's
right.
like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm taking a couple steps back now, boys and
Well,
girls.
when Kosh shows you a vision, you pay attention to that vision.
Agreed.
Hmm. Right. So he might not have gotten the answers he wanted, but he got answers that he needed, and thank God it kind of made him back down. One, just to let you know, I don't know if I brought this up, but if we would have continued on with having Sinclair on Babylon 5, instead of doing the switch out, of course, Sake would be married to him. They'd be married. And she would fill in for Sheridan's wife. In other words, she was the first one. She was supposed to be the one that went out, got to Zahadum, and, uh, you know, basically filled that line that we had instead of Anna Sheridan. But I think I got ahead of myself in the series. But just a little take on that one. So any thoughts on this? Whether it's the Night Watch or the revelation to back down, Captain?
I mean, it basically keeps setting the foundation for everything that's about to come.
Hmm. And we even get a little bit more that foreshadowing because you have where Vera goes to talk to him, and Vera and Morden asks him what he wants, and he speaks about he wants to live long enough to see his head on a pike.
Yep, and that's what we don't get from a lot of shows nowadays. A lot of times they want to rush things because they're limited to 13 episodes, 8 episodes, whatever the episode count is. So they want to rush everything instead of saying, okay, we're going to give you the story for this whole season, but we're going to give it to you in layers. There's multiple layers, like an onion.
Yes, which is great, and it's even like the cursing, like with people like Quentin Tarantino, it makes sense, but other stuff it doesn't. And I feel like they just use that as cheap writing. Oh, we're going to throw some curse words in there. We're going to throw a fuck this and a shit that. And you're just like, what? I just feel it's lazy writing instead of saying write like a sentence for that character at that moment. Yeah.
Or if you need to have a swear word like they had with Babylon 5, they had basically they came up with new words, which is logical. It makes sense.
True, they did.
Or even the same thing with Judge Dredd, Drock and Strom.
What about Babylon 5? Fracking, right? Fracking? Yeah.
No, frack was
Frack was Battlestar.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Battlestar and then they had Frill and Frill with Farscape, Dren and Frill.
They instead of saying fuck, they would say that. And it was like, oh, well, I like that too. That's cool, So I guess in the original Battlestar Galactica series, they had fracking where they say frack this or whatever. And then they have it in the reboot as well. Okay.
Yeah. And Phil Descartes is the other one. This is a bunch of Phil Descartes.
Oh. Yeah. Interesting.
And, again, B5 had their own where they kind of brought in some, friggin, I believe, is what's Sheridan Friggin would be what he would say. So yeah, I mean, there's ways around. Saying, of course. Bad language. And again, if it has a place, yeah. But if it's just so you can just drop it down because it makes you feel like that 14-year-old getting away with something, then no, you failed big time.
Agreed. You do.
That's why Lord Krit will never get any worse in this world with all the stuff that he just, every other word, swear word.
All his swear words and talking about these orcas eating people. It's crazy. I know.
Get your plates ready. You better set yourself down because we're gonna eat.
And it's just like, oh, Morton, he can be your friend, and then he stabs you in the back. Yeah. Look at that smile.
Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Come on, he's got your best interests at heart.
That's right.
Well, sure he does. You can trust him.
Right. And of course, it comes down that
there's Talia winners.
Yeah. Well, Talia joined in with them. Of course, a little conversation there. God, Stefan first, he was so good.
I know. I can't believe how good he was. It was like you see him as Flounder, and then you see him in this, and you're like, my gosh, dude, this.
Yeah.
He has
others of us seen him in
a lot of talent.
Yeah, he really did.
St. Elsewhere, when he was on St. Elsewhere, too. I mean, they were just,
crazy.
People might remember him as like Flounder, but you see this role and just the range that this character had.
Right. And Flounder in Animal House is such a likable character. I don't care what anybody says. He's just such a likable character.
Yes. He, Flounder to them was like Lord Krit to us,
Right. We can go
with see if he's awake. Yeah.
I am awake.
I think he's awake, yes. That's a compliment.
I only lasted 2 episodes into it. So.
What?
I couldn't do it.
Oh, you're talking about a certain.
Oh, now I know. Hey, look, staggered in.
Look at this guy. Look at it's a what is he? What do they call him? Amish. He wears his sunglasses at night. Yeah.
It's a nerdporial lurker.
It is a nerdporial life form lurker. Yes.
And hey, great job getting your friends to start watching it. Hopefully, they'll get other people watching it, and people will start understanding what good science fiction television.
Yeah,
is.
this is quality science fiction for the most part.
So,
yes.
Brian, you get a gold star too.
Don't give him too many gold stars.
Just the one. Just the one.
It'll go to his head, man. I'm telling you.
Well, just because I gave you one. That's the reason why.
Now listen. He, like you, is a non.
He's a non.
Yes, he's a non.
No.
I like that pose right there of Sheridan. I mean, that is.
I did actually. I did watch all of Babylon 5.
He did,
Brian.
yeah. And there we go. There's.
Yep.
And we also have the old man and my super wrench. Hail,
John.
No.
Yes, John Randall. Yes.
And we have ourselves a dolphin pod raid. Great, thank you.
Dolphin pod raid. Oh,
yeah.
My brothers.
Your
brothers.
I don't know.
Yes.
Dolphins and dolphins.
We're related. We're related.
Well, related, but do you get along? That's all I'm asking.
Probably.
You never know. Yeah. So of course there he is. There he is doing the wonderful little finger wave.
Yes.
To Mr. Morden.
Yeah, because he's like, I know who you are, Mr. Morden. You're a jackass.
Yeah, you're a jackass.
But here, let me give you a smile.
Ash
Jackass,
is the Talia Winters of the panel.
Yeah,
wow,
I'm reading Brian's mind right now, and I feel like he's wearing his sunglasses at night, and he might be Amish. So yes, those two things.
I think I'm Amish.
That's the male version of Talia Winters. Get it right, Brian. I know you and your games, Brian.
Did you buy a car from that guy? He could get you a car if you.
I don't know. I think Brian could be Mr. Morton. He just smiles at you and then backstabs you later. Isn't that right, Brian? Oh man.
So what we'll do now is move on to the next episode, Knives. This is a very Orlando Centauri centered episode, where we see the lovely Lord Rifa again coming here. And we also see an old friend of Londo's. And for some reason, Sheridan is being plagued with visions that nobody else can see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it, hitting in a nutshell of what we're going to be seeing here. So we'll start off with discussion time here because we can. And this picture right there, I wish they didn't have that as the first one. There we go.
Right,
Mondo and his good friend.
I don't know those friends, man. Yeah.
Well, would you say that this was probably one of the most Roman episodes?
Yeah, I can see how you mean about that. Yes, yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Because it has all that honor, everything, and now is a fight for honor. And you start finding out that deep down it's political wrangling. He's doing this for protection of family, not himself, and he knows he can't do that because of what's going on back home, especially with this Asia, this Cartasia that's rising up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good. Yeah.
Just the way
Thank
Mike
you,
made
Phil.
a noise.
Yeah. I think he had choke on what he was drinking with that.
I think so. You all right there, Mike?
I'm fine.
All right, dude.
Okay. We just want to make sure you died, almost died a few times in your show.
And this is, if you like any things of Romans, which you should, because it's interesting history. People who think Roman history is boring probably needs to be slapped by a fish a few times, but whatever.
All that was a cheap copy of the Greeks. You know it.
We always have fun on these channels. Oh man, I love it. But yeah, if I remember, of course, this is the episode where he's gonna have to prove himself, and if it comes to killing his friend, he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm Lanier.
And his
Wait
friend
a
went
minute.
after him. So yeah.
Good.
You challenging me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Lanier. I'm Lanier before season 5. I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah.
I thought you were season
And
5.
of course, at one point, Sheridan does go out on his own, and they want to know, okay, Captain, why are you going out there on your own?
Mm-hmm. And he runs into something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is something inside you. And it keeps on having the suggestion, kind of like...
And once again, Baron, this is another situation just like in Rome where it's jealousy.
Right.
That's what it comes down to again, in my opinion.
Well, in this episode, really, you could argue that Alondo was being a good friend because he knew what the situation was.
He was, and he was like, we don't have to fight. But but his other friend was like, no, we have to. I have to prove that I'm better than you. And it's like, oh boy.
Well, it was more than just better than you.
No, but that was part of it. That was part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it came down to it. He knew he was going to lose. He intended to lose. He knew that Londo's star was rising in the Republic.
Right.
Would take care of his family because Londo would be bonded to the family. Bound to taking care of them, which, believe it or not, does play in the future of Babylon 5, but we're not going to go there just yet.
Yeah, I agree, man.
But Mike was also starting off about the alien entity that John Sheridan, and look at that. What do they have going on board the station? Oops, it's going to be a fast here. There we go. Baseball. Who here would love to have seen a Babylon 5 versus DS9 baseball game?
That'd be fun.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Cisco versus Sheridan. Why not?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Niners versus the Fivers.
There we go. I mean, even on the station. Oh yeah, and there is Sheridan, of course, suffering from the whatever entity. Basically, it was kind of like, and not to be a spoiler alert, it's not really, but the road home, in a sense, again, ties back to this one here. We have, wanting to go home, which was plaguing John Sheridan in this episode, and of course later on movie. Strange creatures. Hallucinations. There you go. I want to bring that up for Mike. Babylon 5 didn't have a holo suite. They had a friggin' real diamond out there on a station where space is limited. Space is limited. They couldn't
good
even
stress
grow
reliever.
It is. It is. I mean, this gives me hope for the future. Baseball's still there.
Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing about Babylon 5 compared to Deep Space Nine. Baseball is still going on. You hear references to the World Series because that's still going on.
Yes.
Right. Yet in DS9, by the time they get into the latter 21st century, only 300 people are at the last World Series.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know in Way of the Warrior, Cassidy presents Ben with a hat from the Pike City Pioneers, which is Cassidy's brother's team.
Mm-hmm.
But other than Cisco tossing his baseball every now and then and tossing it with Jake, the only other real reference to baseball you ever get in Deep Space Nine, besides having that episode in season 2 where
you're God.
Well, yeah. See, but season 2,
sorry,
Bokai, it was Cisco's hero, and he
Right.
played for the fictional London Kings.
hmm
But it is Take Me Out to the Hall Suite in the game with the Niners versus the Vulcans.
hmm And you did have that one reference in the original TNG too, where the one guest star doctor came on there and was lamenting that baseball is a dead thing on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously on Babylon 5, it still is. If they're going to have that much space to a baseball field, baseball still got to be something. And yeah,
Uh,
Buckeye,
yes, yes, Buck Bokai.
who was
And
originally
no,
played by Mike. What? Oh,
uh,
that?
just because there's baseball in this series isn't the reason why I like it. Babylon 5 does what Star Trek doesn't do.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Right, and doesn't mean that it's an insult to Star Trek. It's just that again, different franchises, different visions, different ways
Yes.
to go about stuff, and that's what we need.
Yep.
That's what we need.
We go deeper into religion in this, the aliens' religion, and just there's things in this like you would see with Rome with the Centauri. It's very interesting, and the conversations, and then the Psychor. It's like, the Psycorp.
See, the thing about Star Trek is in Star Trek you don't hear about Christianity, you don't
Exactly.
hear about Judaism. You don't hear about any of that. Yeah, in Babylon 5, you see Islam, you see Judaism, you see Christianity, you see all these different religions, not just Earth religions, but alien religions that they're not afraid to bring up on Babylon 5 that for some reason, other than the Bajorans, they're afraid to bring up Christianity and they're afraid to bring up Islam and Judaism. And
Right.
Yeah, because whether they like it or not, religion is also a form of philosophy and in philosophical and other things that come from these religions do affect everyday life because they are looking at everyday life on basically how to better yourself, how to be a better person, what to do that. Majority of the Ten Commandments is basically so man doesn't do bad things to man. Don't steal, don't covet, don't commit adultery, don't kill. I mean,
Yes.
and these foundations, and this is where a lot of that came from. A lot of that came from religion, and you can't deny an impact, positive, because people always want to go with the negative all the time. Oh, religion, this is, and I'll go with that if you include religion a government as a religion, because that's what I look at. I do think that government is a religion, as well as atheism. You have to have faith.
I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
I can see where you're going with that. Some people are so tied to their one political party over another that it does become more of a religious type of deal.
It does.
Right.
I agree with that.
But yeah, and so yeah, you have that. Sorry, I was being interrupted here. My apologies, everybody. But yeah,
that is true. Yes.
Yeah, he's an atheist too. I made that point through. Unlike Roddenberry, who wasn't respectful, JMS as an atheist is, as well as his compadre Harlan Ellison, who was working with him on the show. So with everything that goes on that fight, everybody wants to make noises when I'm on the air. I'm going to have a 5:00 meeting over here. Definitely.
Maybe what you should get is electric sign that says on air.
Yeah, I'm going to get one actually. I was looking at that, but I have a feeling it still wouldn't work. They still would come in and go, Are you on the stream? It's like, oh, that's right. I'm not on. I don't have the camera on, but I just made the look, the sign.
No.
Never.
I don't think so. Yep.
Never, Mr.
He takes
Krit.
shots at us. We take shots at him. You know how
Yeah.
it works, Brian. Come on.
Come on. You can. Well, we're gonna have to talk to Jace then. So, any other thoughts with this? Being both the move along home or take me home country roads, and of course the basically honor killing, Roman style Roman kill.
Well, again, it gives you character building. It gives you
Yes.
cultural building.
Because
There we
really,
go.
Londo never wanted to do this. And of course, if I remember, of course, his friend was asking for his help, and the help he wanted to give him was somewhat, if I remember, overthrowing the government of Centauri, something like that, overthrowing the emperor, something. And Londo was not going to go along with it. And he says, well, then we're going to have a duel and we're going to fight to the death. And Londo never wanted to kill his friends, and it happened, and that was all. And Londo was very upset about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can feel that bit of him died with that as well. And, as oddly enough, he felt honored that his friend would come to him for that. But still, it doesn't mean it's not going to be devastating to the spirit.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, we're going to move on to a rather, dare I say, kind of a more sad episode. It's called Confessions and Lamentations. And it involves an outbreak of a fatal disease, and it seems to be only targeting the Markhab population on board the station, as well as their home planet. And is, of course, raising a panic on the station. And, you can understand why. This disease, people are dropping over. Are we, is it going to come to us? We don't know anything about it. And these Markhab are taken and dumped into a section of the station.
Yes.
But Sheridan and Delenn opt to stay with them till the very end.
Right. And you can, of course, make comparisons to what went on recently with this episode. It's crazy. You watch this and you're like, wow, fast forward to where we were a few years ago. Huh. Yeah. And just,
I mean,
the similarities.
People
yes.
have.
Yes.
Yeah.
To COVID.
And,
yes. Yep.
Right. But even before that, where there's, you can see allusions to AIDS crisis, and then, and various others, the Spanish flu, and, other things that came across and hit our nation and the world, for that matter, in one form or another.
Exactly.
So it's understandable that people would get scared what's going on and maybe get a little carried away with it. Because
JS and whoever else wrote this episode with him they showed you both sides. Wow, what a concept. How people feel about this, and that could this get into humans or other races, and that we have to eliminate these people if we don't. It's crazy. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. And very, very hard, to go on there.
Yeah. And you really feel for Delenn and Sheridan. They really care about these people. And then other people were like, well, let's just basically eliminate them, because what if this disease spreads somewhere else? What if this virus spreads? And you're just like, you feel for them. You really do. And you're like, you put yourself in those situations. You're like, I would be, I think, on Sheridan's side. Like, we cannot become just cavemen or whatever and go crazy and start beating up people. We need to look at this rationally, and it's hard when people are freaking out for good reason, but you've got to find a way to calm them down.
And not only that, it also shows kind of on the, you're trying to do the right thing and it's the wrong thing, because as the crew are going out there and, basically getting for all the blood tests, they inadvertently were helping spread the disease and spread it faster.
Exactly. And then there were other people, aliens, and even other humans was like, well, we can just let them die. This doesn't affect us. Then when it started potentially affecting them, that this virus could spread even to humans, then of course
Right.
people get very worried.
hmm
Right.
But then it comes down to, like, if it does affect humans, is it fatal? Is it not fatal? Is it going to be like a bad
Exactly.
cold? I mean,
Right.
again, it's of course the unknown. It frightens, it amazes, and we're drawn towards it.
Yes, always.
And and sometimes we let the fear of it grab us. Sometimes, and sometimes we let the wanderlust overtake us, where maybe there should be a little fear before taking those steps there. Which obviously Babylon 5 is presented, Star Trek has presented, especially Enterprise.
This is right, exactly, Baron. And this is why that I've always enjoyed sci-fi that makes me think about a lot of different things. And Babylon 5, I don't care what anybody says, makes you think. And you need to actually think. It's not like stupid writing and it makes you feel stupid. You're like, you can put yourself in these situations and you feel like, oh, what would I do if this
Mhm.
was going on? How would I handle these conflicts? Yep.
Yeah, because
I
you don't
enjoyed
know
that.
how you're going to handle the
Exactly.
conflicts once they're presented to you. Some people are cool, calm, and collective in a harrowing situation, while other people start to panic.
hmm
Everybody's makeup is not the same.
hmm
And
Exactly.
we see that in this
Uh,
episode.
Exactly.
mhm.
And I
I
just
mean,
love like a doctor like Franklin because he cares. And when people are saying, "Oh, why do you care about them? Why do you care about people in like the underground areas?" Because he legitimately cares. That's why he feels like he wanted to be a doctor to help
right.
people.
Hmm.
I love
What a
that about
concept.
Franklin. I know, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to be a
seriously. He's
doctor
like,
to
I
help
didn't do
people,
this
not.
right. It's never about the money to him. It's actually
Mhm.
about helping people. What a concept.
Who
And
would have
you
thought?
even have who the funk? Yeah, exactly. And of course, you have this scene right here, which is reminiscent of when Princess Diana hugged the person that was suffering from AIDS during the AIDS crisis, to
Right.
show that, because at that time, people were afraid, and legitimately so. I mean, let's not get too hard on the people who were scared, because we had someone we didn't understand, and they didn't know if contact would be a carrier or not. And
Exactly.
Princess Di comes and hugs that person, and
Mhm.
showing no fear. And
Right.
and this is kind of one of those right there. She's hugging the person, and with no
Yes.
fear at all.
Yes.
So, again, this, it does show a lot of powerful imagery here in
Yes.
this whole thing. It's like, do you or
Mhm.
do you not?
Mhm.
What happens? And I think I'm wrong. There's what one of the markups look like right there. Um, so basically, it's a straightforward episode. It really wasn't an
Mhm.
episode that really pushed the whole story arc along, but uh, it's one again that works and builds not just one person's character in here, but several of the characters. Uh, Builds them up. Whether it's
And
Yep.
one of
I
Glenn,
the
mean,
things that makes this episode great in any good, whether it's sci-fi drama or action drama, crime drama, is when they bring in real life events and they actually
mhm.
thread it into the
Mhm.
story where it's respectful to what's going on in the real world and not preaching at you.
Right. And
Mhm.
I love that good writing is also showing both sides of the situation, not just one, but showing how other people would feel about what's going on. I've always felt that is definitely good writing.
and just to let you know, the Markab, which is the name of the race, that's Arabic for boat. Just to
Hmm.
let you know, a little language lesson there.
Interesting. The
So
more you know. Ding,
again,
ding, ding.
yeah, it's just a straightforward episode, and really no B or C arc with that, and you know, uh, uh, and character builder. It just
Right. Yeah, dude. Character
Yep.
building and showing all different sides
A
and how
lot of
people feel and
emotions.
yes, emotions. I mean, this show
right.
really, you watch certain episodes and you're like, man, that really did something to me in either a good way or a bad way, or you actually feel sad. You're like, wow, Where is this? I want more of this. Where is this
And
now? Yeah.
right. And this
And
episode kind of did
that
some
scene right there, that's
Mhm.
very impactful right there.
Very, very. And
Right.
one thing I've always loved about seeing Babylon 5 finally and watching the whole series, less can always be more. And it's amazing to me that writers still, going into the future, do not understand that. Some do, most don't. They think you
Right.
need to show everything. It makes the audience stupid. You can show parts of it, and then you can, figure out with your brain, put
Mhm.
pieces together. There's nothing wrong with that.
And it makes more impactful sometimes because instead of somebody
Yes, it
showing you
does.
their deep horror, which might not mean anything to it, you start imagining
Right.
your own. So
Exactly.
you scope out the thing that bothers you the most, and that you identify with it that way.
Yes.
Uh,
And episodes like this, Baron, can be even more impactful than other episodes that you watch of Babylon 5. You're like, "Oh, I remember that." But an episode like this definitely was an impact to me. I started thinking about movies like Outbreak and different stuff going on where there was viruses, and I was comparing that. I was like, it's very interesting. It's
That
sad
drum
too.
was very
It's legitimately sad.
right, but the the big thing is what's not sad. It was able to make you think about that
Exactly.
and branch out. I mean, in education, not
That's
that the
right.
show educated you, but it
Right.
made you want to educate yourself.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts with this particular episode? Oh, one thing, of course, they did with this that sometimes science fiction franchises have a hard time doing. They're all dead. They're all dead. There's no the last of or
No.
the only one. They're all dead. We just saw an entire species, their home planet, wherever they were, go extinct because of
Yeah.
this, and they are no more. In fact, their planet does come up in the future, but we'll talk about that when it comes in. But yeah, they're dead, and it's so easy for some of these people to have a little loophole where they have a last of, or there was a colony somewhere that they didn't get affected, and then they come back. No, they're gone. Something that's very hard for a lot of writers to do, especially in science fiction,
Yeah,
to
they're
wipe everybody
gone
out.
and they're not going to come back. And it's
Mhm.
just, like you think of Delin and Sheridan, you feel for him. You really do. Or anybody else. It's just because Delin is such a caring person, and this is like this whole race is getting wiped out, and more people should
Mhm.
care about it. As I said, this is just a really good episode.
Mhm. Okay. Well, we'll move on to the next one, and this is both. Well, this episode we've talked about this quite a bit, even before this, but it's divided loyalties. Oops, and I know what I did there. I was an idiot, as I wasn't. But divided loyalty is the original telepath comes to the station, and she has news that there is a mole, a rat amongst them, a spy,
The
and
Sham, or
a
Charlton.
sham. hmm
Mhm.
And she's able to find out who it is if she is allowed to do a mid-level scan, not even a deep one, just a mid-level scan to see if they're the ones, if they have the trigger, because it's kind of like a dual personality type of thing. They don't know they are that person, but there is a code in there that will break and open it up. So they're truly a true sleeper agent within there. And so the one who comes back, we've came from the first season, for first movie, I mean, and that is of course Lita Alexander. Our little P5 is back, and she's changed, folks. She's changed a lot, but she discovered that there is a rat among Babylon 5. She knows that there's something going on in Babylon 5 because she's been let in by her, shall we say, the person who's been training her now, which is Kosh.
Mm-hmm.
And so they need to find out who it is so they can get rid of that person so they do not of course, divulge any secrets that would fall into Shadow's ears or whatever they have of it. Of course, if we're dealing with a side core episode, we have poor Miss Talia Winters also involved with this one, and of course, the relationship between her and Ivanova. Of course, everyone knowing that Ivanova has no true love. But the one big thing comes is Talia Winters having an issue with her quarters, so Ivanova offers to let her stay with her. And so those are the two things. And are they separate? Do they come together? Or do they come together later on? Well, let's find out, folks. Let's one of you guys take it from here, because I don't want to be the show hog, even though I am a show hog.
About this episode?
This episode. Have you been watching the show?
I have. I've. This episode's great because we get to see Talia Winters. Talia Winters, spoilers, basically.
Yeah, I'm going to put that up, folks. So if you don't want to know anything more, run away, because as we go more and more with the series, there's no way to hide spoilers. And I think this is truly one of the episodes that we have to throw that up.
So what makes this a great episode is the fact that one of the main characters is leaving the show, and she's revealed to be not a great person, and she betrays Ivanova, who's pretty much gotten attached to her. And that's Talia Winters.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Right.
There is this is 90s relationship, so they don't show her like in love with Talia Winters, but she's clearly in love.
You get the hint. You definitely get the hint.
Unfortunately, the show was maybe a little years early because DS9 broke through that with the Jadzia Dax kiss, but they hint to her sleeping with Talia Winters, and then Lita Alexander uses her powers and reveals Talia Winters as the spy, and she's like, and Talia Winters, tells Ivanova, oh, well, it was never real. Ka-ching.
Yeah.
And they hint that Talia Winters, her original personality got scanned by Kosh and would be saved maybe. But but it doesn't really matter because Talia Winters, the actress, did come back, and she was on NYPD Blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was leaving the show. She didn't want to play the character no more, even though she was married to Jerry Doyle at the time. And not only that, she moved on to be a CNN anchor. So she was trying hard to kind of drop the actress and be taken serious too. So, yeah, she did make good decisions, in my opinion.
I mean, she should have just stuck to acting, but no, she had an ego.
She should have stayed to Babylon 5 because her character was growing. It was, it was going to become very important. But we were able to get Patricia Tallman back, and she picked up where she left off. But that kind of throws some disturbing things. What did she get from Ironheart? Remember, she said she got the ability to move items with her mind, but and who knows what else? How does that affect things with his gift to her?
Oh, it got quiet.
It did.
I don't know. I think Krit covered most of it. What do you think?
I really had nothing else.
I mean, this episode. Yeah, I mean, as important of episode as it is, there's not really much to talk about. Because it comes right down to it. The whole episode is basically who's the traitor, making everyone kind of suspicious of everybody, uh, and then finding out who it was and that she was taken away. Bye bye. And that was the last we see of Talia Winters. She should not have left the show, but it also brought back the lovely Patricia Tallman as Lita Alexander, who I like better, anyways. Honestly.
I like her until season 5.
Yeah,
Oh
you
yeah.
got to throw her out the airlock. I know she's had a lot happen to her at that point, but oof.
Well,
Anyway.
to be fair, Talia would probably end up going the same way too. We really don't know.
Yeah, maybe they both should. I mean, what? Yeah, okay.
I don't know. It's silly, but continue.
Well, we'll talk about that when it comes to it. So the next episode we have is the Long Twilight Struggle, and basically the Narn Centauri War is really going at it right now. They're hitting each other hard, and Sheridan, of course, is contacted by none other than from the great machine, Drawl. Thank you. I hate when I had it in my mind and it went away. Yeah, Drawl, who this time is now played by John Schuck, who is known for probably in our community as the Klingon ambassador in Star Trek 4 and Star Trek 6.
Yep.
He played another Klingon too in Enterprise. I know he was there. He was also in the original MASH movie as Painless. And Hams and Yo-Yo has a comedy about him being a robot. But that's beyond that's whatever. So he's in there. We have W. Morgan Shepherd in here also, and he is is the war leader, Justen, in there. And of course, Rifa is back. So basically, this one is basically about the war with the Centauri. We know about Cartasia, and he's acting more of a figurehead. It's basically Rifa and his boys are using him as a puppet, kind of type of situation. And we got interesting things going on, straightforward, but it's also a very important one because of what happens, especially to the Narn in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, take it away. Please.
Well, I would say this is the first part of a 3-part finale.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also, since no one's mentioned it yet, but this is, of course, when they find out, when the Narns and the Centauri are there and this war is starting. Well, of course, at the bar, I would say the bar, fights start breaking out because, of course, the Narn are starting to hate the Centauri. And, of course, they don't know that the shadows are involved yet. Yeah. And so that's a big deal, obviously, because, war broke out and you got the Centauri attacking the Narn homeworld. So there's obviously going to be hatred. The hatred will start when these kind of situations happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, what do? They blast Narn into the Stone Age, literally.
Mm-hmm.
As they're doing mass drivers from space, rooting their atmosphere, their the system of the planet, and even worse than they did when they were under Centauri thumb. And so basically, it's almost an act of genocide that they're attempting to do.
Yeah, Sheridan doesn't like it one bit, and you know that Jakar doesn't like it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But also, Londo's role. Don't forget his role in all this.
Right. And you know what? He doesn't like it either. And that's the thing.
That's true.
I mean, look at this is when the Narn surrender.
Mm-hmm.
And Londo's got to say, all the rules.
I mean, Andres Castulas in this scene,
Mm-hmm.
that just showed what a great actor he was.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact when Sheridan reveals that Jakar came to him seeking asylum on
Mm-hmm.
Babylon 5,
Mm-hmm.
and asylum was granted.
Right. And he becomes Citizen Jakar.
Mm-hmm.
And right there, the look on his face as he's watching the mass drivers blast the ecosystem of Narn to smithereens. That's not a joyous look.
No, that's a look like we're gonna regret doing this.
Mm-hmm. Everybody lost in this episode.
Yeah, there were no winners.
No,
just like a real war, there are no winners.
There's not. Even right there, Londo is just like, what have I done? It's just finding out about the shadows and things that are going on. It's like, wait, this is not what we agreed to. This is when that all starts. I think I remember.
Basically, yeah. I mean, you hear that phrase, how is it going to end? In fire.
Mm-hmm.
And there they are. They're watching the news, and lo and behold, Narn and Satari are together there, and it breaks out. Fights.
Yes, that's what I was talking about. Yep, it does.
Yep. The anger and seething hatred that the Narn have for Satari, and the contempt the Satari have for the Narn.
For good reason. For good reason.
Mm-hmm. There is Grawl, of course, played by John Shuck.
Mm-hmm.
Who is actually a hologram because the body's still in the Great Machine. He can't leave it.
Yep. And you see that effect in this episode that he is a hologram. He's not physically there.
Mm-hmm. But what a great actor John Shuck is. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on this episode as we go along? Again, a major turning point for the Narn and Centauri.
Very good episode. We're starting to get the payoff of what they set up with episode 1 of the season.
Yes.
The payoff is on the horizon.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And even going back to episodes in the first season where, you're starting to get the veil taken off your eyes. It's like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? Okay. We have something that I consider and I'm going to take that spoiler because I don't think there's really any spoiler in here. Kind of silly because the premise, the Inquisitor, played by Wayne Alexander, comes as Sebastian, comes on board Babylon 5, and he's basically interrogating, trying to figure out, what's going on here. It's a test. He is from Narn. He's a human from not Narn, but from the Vorlon homeworld, and he's testing Delenn. And basically, it's pretty much more of an interrogation, full-fledged, hardcore on there.
Yes, he's trying to get them to say certain things, if I remember correctly, and certain words.
Yeah.
And he doesn't feel that they're truthful until they basically say these words.
And of course, needless to say, Sheridan doesn't like him. It's like, what the hell is this thing doing here? This person on my station?
Yes.
And how is it that he is from, the Vorlons in him? And how menacing he looks. He plays several parts in Babylon 5. A very important one down the road here. But yeah, I mean, just the presence he has. He could almost be too Sherlock Holmes, I think.
I was gonna say I was getting a Sherlock Holmes vibe, a Moriarty vibe.
Yes.
But a more menacing Moriarty.
Yeah, not that he wasn't menacing enough as it is, but yeah, definitely. And basically, it's the interrogation and Jakar trying to get support on board the station for his people. So those are the big two things.
Jakar's trying to rally his people. And he's also going to Sheridan at one point, asking for assistance from Earth. And what was it, this episode, or is it the next episode where they have the handshake? And Jakar says, the last time I shook someone's hand, the next day we were at war.
Right. Remember? Yeah, that was a great moment.
Yeah, I can't remember if this one, or the next one. Yeah, exactly. Because I think it's the next one because that has the really Narn. Well, we'll talk about when we get there.
Right, and then they turn it around on this like man who I think, if I remember correctly, they brought back to life, and then he was brought back by the Vorlon, something like that. I think, Baron.
Well,
yeah.
Well, the only thing we know is Sebastian was taken from Victorian England, and some people know him
right but
hey,
a long time ago. Right, a long time ago. What's up, Jace?
And he was also known to be
Jack the Ripper.
Right, right, which is very interesting. Yes. And so, Sheridan's not, it's like, you're going to investigate me. Well, the hell you are. All right, then I'm going to do it back to you.
Right.
Yeah, Sheridan gets the information, and he says, I know who you are, just like you know who I am.
Yep.
And needless to say, they passed the interrogation, but Sebastian didn't make things comfortable for him.
No, but he didn't make any friends.
No. And of course, played by Wayne Alexander, as I said, who is a great actor. I mean, I hope he's in a lot of stuff. I mean, he was great in this show with all his roles. So, okay, we'll move then quickly because I think we want to talk more about this one in a little bit more detail. But this is the season finale. This is when things really, really hit the fan. As you can see, these signs are coming up around Babylon 5 on the shops because people were overheard not having the best things to say about Park and his government. So, they're being closed by pending
time for some censorship, right?
Are they being seditionists or not? So we're seeing that happening on board the station. We start seeing some of the repercussions for everybody when it comes to the Narn Centauri War. And, we'll get to that later. I don't know why they put that so early. The big thing is what brings everything to a forefront. And a Narn cruiser comes to Babylon 5 to basically try to get assistance. They've been blasted out of space. So Sheridan agrees to it. But the Centauri don't like it, and they want the ship to be surrendered. So they send one of their battle cruisers over to it, and they have a showdown. And everybody has a showdown, basically. I'll leave it to the rest of you to talk about it. And
tensions are high on the station.
Hey, Comic Relief Crusader, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, he's great. If you haven't haven't spotted his stuff, look for good old Comic Relief Crusader. He's a great guy. Back to you guys.
Is
no Real Wade Gaming Clips?
Is this the one where like Citizen Jakar is fighting and trying to get talking? He's trying to get like help for his.
He's trying to get support.
Right.
Yeah, trying to get support.
And there was supposed to be certain rules, if I remember, of war. and the Centauri is breaking them, and that's why Sheridan is giving the ship sanctuary, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, because Babylon 5 is a neutral port, a neutral
Right.
station.
Yes.
When someone comes like that, obviously they would get, sanctuary for whatever time they need. And they just needed to get some stuff fixed and so they could get on their way and leave. So Centauri decide that, no, we still have rights to him, even though it's neutral space. And it causes good old Sheridan to be caught between a rock and a hard place, especially with the fact that you have a couple guys on board the station with night watch causing issues.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making sure it's known that, yeah, give it up. We don't want to do anything to cause problems with the Centauri. And we'll just move it. There they are. Roy Deutris, if you probably remember him, he was from, of course, Beauty and the Beast, and before that, he was on Space 1999 for a couple episodes. And John Vicky as, of course, his compatriot with the Night Watch. So they're informing him that no, in fact, he gives up the location. The fact that yes, the Narn ship is there, and now is causing issues with the Centauri with their demands that, they're trying to keep it secret, but in confidence, they let these guys know about it. And then they turn around and tell the wrong people, the Centauri.
Right. Ugh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Very.
The Night Watch.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah,
can't
the
be
Night
trusted.
Watch. No, they can't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Gespato.
Mm-hmm. But the funny thing is what I just described was just the first half of the show,
Mm-hmm.
of the episode. There's a heck of a lot more even after that, because, of course, basically Sheridan has to defend not only himself, the Narn ship, but themselves, because the Centauri open fire on everybody, including Babylon 5, who has to return in kind as they're making time for the Narn ship to hyperspace out and get the devil out of there. Sheridan blows up the Centauri ship like it's a Minbari cruiser, and now he's called up in the carpet. They're demanding that he give the Centauri an apology.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And he practices in the mirror. And finally he comes to the one that he comes down on. I'm sorry that you were stupid enough to have caused this to happen. Basically, make an apology a backhanded slap he was going to do. But he never got a chance to make that speech, by the way.
Yep.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Anybody wish to expand on it a little bit more?
I mean, it's a powder keg situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all convoluted.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
this is the last time we see Kefir, aka Pilot Boy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Pilot Boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that a number of fans, I guess, didn't care for him much.
No, nobody liked him.
That's very
nobody liked it at all.
interesting.
On the show and off the show. Yeah,
That is crazy. I mean, I guess he was acting like an ass to an extent.
He was, yes. I mean, as you can see, there's a shitload of pictures for this. I was trying to get there, but on the way to the apology speech, he's riding on the tram, and some people leave, including a Centauri.
Right, and yeah, Sheridan was on the tram, right, and then there was a bomb on the tram, right? Yes,
right. One of the Centauri left it behind to blow him up.
Yes, to blow him up.
Because they're all mad at him for blowing up the ship.
Right.
But wait. I love the interaction between these two in this episode.
Even though it was such a serious episode, you had this funny but believable scene where they start going up about the ambassadors are working for in the job. It's like, yeah, same time, yeah. That this has just been going on for a long time.
Great acting by Stephen First and Bill Mummy.
Yeah, they made it so believable. The punchline was absolutely, it was worth it.
Yeah.
And DJ Ronnie D, welcome.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There he is, out in the wintertime, turtles in the backpack there. Yep.
That's
Enjoying the
right.
good life. Mm-hmm. So, of course, the only way Sheridan can save himself is jumping from that air tram.
Yes.
And with the fact that he's close to the 0 point of the station, the gravity is far less up there, but will start speeding up, as he gets more into the gravitational.
Right.
And everybody's watching, like something has to be done. And Delin is the one that tells Kosh, now is the time.
Yeah, because Sheridan even receives a message in this episode, and it says, now. That's all the message says.
Mm-hmm. And that's all it was, now. So as he's falling, this angelic-like creature comes up and grabs and rescues him and brings him down. And everybody sees this angelic figure of their own species. In other words, they see the Narn equivalent of Jesus. They see the Drazi, the Minbari. Of course, for human, it would be like an angel or such. So everybody's seeing
something different. Yes.
Right. Except for Londo. He didn't see anything.
That's right. He didn't.
And this is the first time we see what a Vorlon looks like, which is basically pure energy. And of course, it's year end also. So Ivanova's going through her year end. And as you can see, she's got the menorah in front of her. It's for Hanukkah. So again, grabbing onto her Jewish roots. Again, something you didn't see in other franchises. And this, we have all these. There we go. Like there's the image for the humans. I don't think, sadly, they don't have any of the other ones.
Yeah, that's only the humans see like an angel creature.
Right. But
it's like David Bowie from The Man Who Fell from Earth.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. And again, like the Narn Sea, the Narn Sea Jaquan, I believe, or whatever the equivalent is, and the Minbari Sea, whatever it is the Minbari have for that. But the only one again was Londo. He didn't see something, and could it be because he was involved so heavily with the shadows?
Right. Yeah, those shadows are so creepy. As they should be. So.
Right. Everybody's creepy.
Yes.
And of course, but that Kefir we were talking about earlier, the Kefir, after he saw a shadow ship earlier, has become obsessed with trying to locate, and he occasionally makes trips into hyperspace and such, trying to find this black ship that he saw in hyperspace. And he keeps going and going, and finally he does come across it. He has the recording. It gets ejected, so they see what happens, and that does go back and gets in some people's hands. The big thing is, though, is the actor who was doing it thought that, they just knocked me out. And then he was surprised when JMS said, no, you're dead. Your character is gone. And, what a way to, going believing that you're just going to be knocked out to, you're gone. You're wasted. The shadows killed you. But again, it was a character was forced on to JMS by P10. He didn't want it, so the character, was in there just as minimal as possible. The actor that got in the show, nobody liked. So I mean, it's lucky he got the full season.
That was right, the pilot guy. Yeah, that's interesting. So a character, right? And JS is like, I don't want this guy. Well, you're gonna have to take him, or we're not gonna give you some kind of budget or whatever. They'll play some hardball, and it's like JS has to be like, all right, put up with the nonsense. Yeah.
And generally, he fights, but he says that's the only time that they really came in and made a demand of something. So I mean, he probably came.
Well, that's good.
Then because that was the only time, because they basically was left hands off. But that was one of the things. Like, give me, please, have this. So again, this episode has everything. Again, it's setting the path of what's going on with the Centauri and the Narn.
Yes.
What's this going to leave Earth in what type of predicament is this, especially with the Centauri?
Yeah. Well, that's why anybody. Go ahead, man.
Oh, no, go.
Oh no, I was just saying that's why people that don't want to give this show a chance, it's like you're just missing out. Wait till you get to season 2, and you may think little things are slow and they're not making sense, and it's just like just start thinking more about it. Start thinking more. And then, so I hope Paulie Boy actually, continues this show and doesn't watch 2 episodes. I'm done. He's just doing himself a disservice.
Here's the thing about Babylon 5. When you hear so many of us who are on this platform saying that there's not a good show to watch anymore, that's why you go back and watch a show like Babylon 5, especially if you've never watched it before. Because it'll keep you entertained from the first episode all the way to the last episode of the series.
Yeah, even though there's some problems with season 5, and I can't say there isn't. It's just there's still some interesting things there, and I would hope Paulie Boy, as I like to call him lately, I hope Paulie Boy would actually give this show a chance. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I hope anybody does.
So. Yes. Oh,
Pop Culture Mechanic. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy. Hope you're doing well, man.
That's 2 Canadians now, eh?
Eh?
Yeah, Pop Culture and, of course, the Pop Comic Relief
definitely. Right.
They're the reasons why we like Canada. The only reasons. So this was a season. Sorry?
Yep.
Oh.
Yes, definitely.
So this was the season finale, and obviously everything is, what the heck's going on? It's not really, you can't really see this as a cliffhanger, like they always pulled off in the Star Trek franchise since Best of Both Worlds. But again, it leaves you wanting more. It's like, we know the story isn't done yet, but it's not a cliffhanger. We just got finished with this book. Now it's time for the next book. At least that's how I kind of look at it. And
we got an anonymous do.
Hey, anonymous, I got this to say. It would be a cheap knockoff if there was money involved in it, so it can't be cheap. It's a free knockoff.
Wow.
Be honest. Any thoughts? Because bringing this the show to the end, it would be that this is the last one. Any thoughts about this episode more? How it was, obviously the pacing, and it was like, you think the episode would come to the end, and it's like, no, we're at the halfway point.
It's a great. I think it's a great ending, season 2, and how it ties into season 3.
Yeah, I mean, season 3, I can't wait to start discussing season 3.
Yeah, that will be something else, because that's one thing that's really, really get into the meat of the story that we're being told. Everything's been kind of a build up and ramping up in 1 and 2, and now things are ramping up, and now we're going to get in the thick of it.
Well, which is how it should be. I mean, again, as I said earlier, they're giving you layers of an onion, and they're peeling back the layers. J.
Mhm.
Michael Straczynski had everything thought out well in advance. It wasn't one of those things where he just thought of it on the fly and
Mhm.
went, yeah, okay, if it sticks enough to the wall, we'll go with it. No, he thought
Mhm.
everything out. Even as cast members would come and go, he
Mhm.
still managed to weave a new thread into the quilt that he already made.
Mhm.
Because
Exactly.
that's what Babylon 5 really is.
Mhm.
As you go from season 1 all the way to season 5, it's a quilt. And we're just seeing it being made, coming together.
Mhm.
New pieces being added, some pieces being taken away for specific reasons.
Mhm. Exactly. Everything has a meaning to what's being done here. And even
Mhm.
with episodes that really aren't, fully tied into the whole story arc, again, they're important because they're showing us more character build, more, what is, keeps you going, what makes them more fascinating. So nothing I think is really wasted. I mean, you start off here with, of course, this is Box Leitner's first season with Babylon 5. Uh,
Yes.
they did do, if you listen like the first four episodes of the opening, kind of seemed a little choppy with them doing it, the intro. And then was redone. And it's like, oh yeah, after that they did the redo, and he sounded a lot better. Uh, looked like he was needing a little bit to get going in the beginning to get into the role, but definitely started getting into it. We had Michael and
Mhm.
Sarah as a guest star. We had John Shuck, as we just showed here. Um, so we had some people that are really well known that were coming through and being guest stars on the show. Uh, we saw things ramping up with the Narn and the Centauri.
Mhm.
We start getting more information about this group of the Shadows and what exactly are they. And
Great
now here we are.
character growth in this season.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, definitely.
Yes,
The
great.
Morden,
Yeah.
and then he's connected with the shadows, and they're controlling him, and it's just
Mhm.
it's so
It's very
cool. And
wonderful.
Sheridan, yes, it's a really good season
Mhm.
overall.
Mhm. It is. It really is. And no, it's like buckle up, Buttercup. Here we go.
Yep, yep, pretty
So,
much.
gentlemen, we've come to that point. I think that we can move on from here. Do any of you wish to plug or say anything about anything? I'll start with Mike first.
Okay. Tomorrow will be the Sunday edition of Pacific Forum 4 Pop Talk, where in the second hour of Pop Talk, open panels will return.
Mhm.
Now, there is a catch to that. I have some rules that I have set in place. If you want to find out what those rules are, Baron, is it okay if I grab the link for tomorrow's episode?
Go right ahead. Put everything in there and do what you need. Anybody
Thank you,
can put
sir.
the link to their page except for Krit
All
because
right.
I'm intimidated by him. He
Uh,
scares me.
yeah, I'm a Centauri.
Yes, I'm tired. Okay, so go ahead, Mike.
Let me just grab the link for tomorrow's Pop Talk, and in that link, I have posted some guidelines as to what is expected from all guest panelists and what it all entails for tomorrow. I don't want to drag on Baron's stream too long going over it, but this is the link for tomorrow's episode. If you'd like to come on, read over the guidelines. But we will be talking about pop culture and entertainment news. We have some One Piece news to talk about. We also have some more Starfield news to talk about.
Ooh.
And one of the other stories that we're going to be talking about for tomorrow is about Danny Masterson.
Oh.
So, for those of you who aren't in the know, he was found guilty of rape.
Mm-hmm.
So,
2 counts.
we are, yes, we
Yeah.
are going to talk about that.
And people are saying that there wasn't much evidence there, but then I agree with people like Phil McCracken, who's like, well, you know what? they can claim what they want because, he might have put himself in a bad situation. So, I don't know enough about it. So.
And the reason why Phil was saying that is because, well, he is in a bit of trouble too. So that's why he's
wow.
No.
Zing!
You're talking to the king of fandom legacy. Now, Cash Money. Where is my Babylon 5, bitch?
Yep.
Excuse me, Orca Boy. I think it's time for some poaching to go on.
Oh.
Okay, you, Mr. Cash Monet.
Monet.
The Phantom Hooligans.
The Hooligans, yes.
Okay.
Yes, boo to you too, Baron. But yes, so I'm still working on some demo videos right now that are going to be released soon, and probably tomorrow or even tonight, there's going to definitely be a gaming stream. I haven't decided what it's going to be yet, if it's going to be Bolt Gun, if it's going to be Ratchet and Clank, but it's definitely going to be one of them. So,
Farmville.
Yeah. Farmville, yes. I'll be playing Farmville.
Yeah.
And seeing how much grinding I can do. No, I will not be playing.
No, you're gonna be playing Goat Simulator.
I'm gonna play. Hey, I hear that's a lot of fun, actually.
It is. I mean, don't knock Goat Simulator.
That's right.
In fact, I'd be tempted to do that.
Yeah, I know, Anonymous. I know. Sometimes I agree with Phil, and you do too, Anonymous. Do. But yeah, so there's some excitement stuff I'm working on. So yeah, on the Phantom Hooligans, and then of course next week we're more Vermintide 2 and possibly some Myth Force because that's coming out. So
woo!
Yep. So if everybody's buying it, pretty much rock and roll. I don't know if Krit will, but I'm pretty sure you will, Baron and Mike, but we all have to agree that we're going to buy it. So
okay, it's not a bad price. Because it's a good price. I'm in.
Yes.
It's too fun of a game. It's a less gory version of Vermintide.
Yes, that is for sure. Less blood. And then Baron, I'm also still working on my pinheads in entertainment, so want to make sure when those will hopefully be done soon. Have 1 or 2 episodes out. I've gotten too annoyed with Hollywood that it's just time. So,
is this a panel show?
No, not yet.
Oh, you're doing a talking pinheads. Oh,
something like that. It's more of certain pinheads in entertainment because there's a lot you can find. Yeah.
There's a lot of morons out there, boys and girls.
Yes, the things that they say, it's very easy to mock. But it's also one of these things where it's not going to be an echo chamber because if you like the property, that's fine. But it's still losing money, and the person is still saying these ignorant things. So, yeah.
Okay. And, of course, best for last, the king of fandom legacy himself, Lord Krit of the Pod of Orcas. It's Pod, right? You guys are Pod.
Yeah. I've already mentioned my movie's out. Go watch it if you have not. Working on some What Ifs with Cash Money. I'm thinking about doing something with Mara Jade, and that's about it. Oh, and I'm streaming SpongeBob, so.
Is that good?
Oh, I was gonna do a review of the One Piece live action fully in depth. I'll need to find a day to do that, probably next Friday or Saturday. But hopefully by then, you guys have seen it all, and then I can invite you and et cetera, et cetera. Of course, we're going to just talk about the cartoon as well. Cash Money's seen. I'm hoping Cash Money is there for that stream because he's seen the first quarter of One Piece. So.
That's true.
But yeah, that's what I got on the table.
On the table. Excellent. Well, I am so thankful for you gentlemen for joining me, and I hope we'll be able to get Phil next time. Always
I hope
love
so.
hearing. his take is
Yes.
like, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I like it. There's nothing more to say about
understand
it.
why he wasn't able to make it. I mean, there's thunderstorms. They're going through
Yeah.
his area. They're going through my area. They're not bad
Mhm.
right now, but you know,
Yeah,
you
you
still
don't
got to
want to
be
downgrade.
you still got to be careful of a thunderstorm rolling through the area.
Mhm. Right, and I can understand fully. We can get some scary storms here too, and you don't want to be on the. I'm gonna. You know what? You're gonna have to talk to me about how to do those bots so I can have automatically all you guys is going into the queue here.
I could definitely help you out with that.
I need a lot of help, boys and girls. Really, really, I do. So, okay, well, I thank everybody again, and let's not forget all of you who are sitting in our chat. We had, of course, Pacific 414. He was saying live, live, live. We have Salty Traveling Sea, and I actually got it right. My dyslexia didn't change traveling and salty. He was here. One of our favorite penguins, low spec Linux laptop. The Nerporeal life form himself, the old man. My super rich himself, John Fez for hire Rendell. We had Jace Fox from 540 Studio. The Comic Relief Crusader from the Great White North. Real Wade Gaming Clips. Well, DJ Ronnie Turtle, DJ Ronnie G and his turtles were here. The other big giant Canadian YouTuber himself, Pulp Culture Mechanic. Animus. It's Animus. No, did Phil pop in at the last minute? And
Yes,
then we
he
have,
did.
of course, Phil McCracken. And I hope the storms aren't going too bad into your area that you had there. And
Phil McCracken, you will never have to beg me for coupons.
that was a special message sent to you.
Wow. Special message for Philly Boy. That's amazing.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank all you guys on my panel and all of you that's in the chat and those of you who are lurking. Thank you so very much for joining us. Next week will be the start of season 3. So it'll be probably part 1. And who knows, it might go a little bit longer because there's a lot of depth and detail in that. So with that, and of course my panel, hey, have a great night. If you haven't watched Babylon 5 yet, do it. And of course, please support everybody that you see here in the chat and on the panel. Have a great night.